Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who's joined us today on our show. Today is going to be a lot crazier, guys, I guarantee it. On our show, I'm going to explain why that aircraft accident happened in Washington, D.C. No, it was not purposeful. I've analyzed it from all angles. It was not purposeful. I'm going to explain what happened in just a few minutes. But first, I'm going to start off this program with a salute to the United States of America by the singing of the United States National Anthem. I would ask everyone now to please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Oh, yeah! Come on, folks, let them know.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We want to thank them for doing this for us. We also want to thank all of our Armed Forces Services members, wherever they might be around this globe, here in the United States or around the world. We want to thank all of them. We also want to thank all of our Armed Forces servicemen attached to other countries' allies. We want to thank them for their service as well. Folks, they are the ones that help protect us all. They help serve the United States to help protect the world, as we are the world's policemen. Honestly, that's exactly what we are, the world's policemen. I want to thank everybody that has joined us now on this program tonight. Now, folks, we have a lot to talk about. I guarantee you there's a ton of things to talk about. Now, I want to first bring up the issue with the plane in Washington, D.C. that went down last night. I've done a lot of research. I've covered a lot of angles. Okay. I want to first start off with the plane and the helicopter and their trajectory. Okay. I want you to look at this map. I'm going to put this map into motion in just about a minute. Okay. I want you to watch it. It's very important. Okay. Look where that helicopter is. The helicopter is that PAT-25 up at the top of this map. Okay. It came out of Belor Army Base, just north of Washington, D.C. The airport that you see there, I'm going to show you right here. This is runway 1 right here. Runway 1 is 5,000 some odd feet long, the largest runway at Reagan International. Now, what happened? Runway 1 is being taken up and is taken out of service by the air traffic controllers at Reagan International. As a result, this aircraft here, okay, this is the American Airlines jet here that was hired by PSA, a regional carrier out of Wichita, Kansas, to bring passengers from Wichita, Kansas to Washington, D.C., Reagan International. It's a one-way trip, okay? One-way trip from Wichita. We'll talk about the passengers on that plane in just a few minutes. This is that passenger plane right here, okay? This is the helicopter. The helicopter is flying a predetermined mission, okay? A predetermined route. This helicopter is going to go like this, like this. This is how it's supposed to go, okay? But because the air traffic controllers rerouted the primary aircraft here, okay? The regional jet here, okay? It was rerouted. It's going to go down this runway here, runway 33. This is the runway it's supposed to go down now. So its trajectory was going to go down runway 1 here, but it was rerouted. So the jetliner is going to go like this. Then it's it would normally come right into here, right into runway 33. But it didn't make it. I'm going to put this runway into motion, or this aircraft into motion right here. I'm going to let you hear their traffic controllers, and I'm also going to let this play out. Then you're going to see what I've already known. Okay, that's a primary aircraft.
Yeah, 79 contact don't work today. Okay. American 7130 close final. Well, American 3130. And 25, traffic is south of West Bridge and Sierra Day at 1,200 feet from runway 33. This is Bridge Group. American 1630 tower runway 1 off wood. Traffic throughout runway 33. This is 165 final.
Okay, this is the aircraft. I'm sorry. This is the aircraft right here.
Whiskey 6307. Keep on out to November Southwest end of the day. American 1630 to Windstar 3214 sub 25. Traffic 2 mile elevation rate 33. No delay from a 1 for immediate takeoff. Number 1, clear for takeoff. American 1630.
This is the American Airlines aircraft here.
Pass 25, hit the CRJ inside. Pass 25, pass on the CRJ.
It was going right into runway 33 at Reagan International. At this point in time,
American 472, Washington, 1 star, 3230.
want you to see that one more time. Okay? Right here is the aircraft. This is the helicopter.
USA 350, 3000, American 3130. Tower, Blue Street, 5347 is on final request, runway 33, circle the 33.
Okay, that was the end of it. After that, there was no further transmissions from either the helicopter or the American Airlines plane. Okay, that's how it happened. This entire time, people wondered what was going on. Charlene Miley is asking ATC. ATC is air traffic control. ATC is air traffic control. Okay? Now, I want to tell you this. Like I said, I've studied it till I was blue in the face today. Okay? I've watched it. I've watched the National Transportation Safety Board discuss it. They arrived in Washington, D.C. last night. They've been on the scene since last night. What else? Okay, let me tell you what happened. Like I said, that aircraft, that helicopter was coming from Baylor Air Force, or not Air Force Base, Army Base, where it had refueled. Okay, it was going to go south of Reagan International to another nearby air base. Okay, that's where it was headed. But let me bring up this other map here. I want to show you another map. Okay, this is another map. Again, you can see Reagan International. This long runway is runway 1 with 5,000 some odd feet. Runway 33 is a shorter runway of about 2,000 feet long. Very dangerous. Okay. Again, this was a long-range regional aircraft coming from Kansas. It was making a turn. Now, what happened here? The aircraft came down the Potomac River like this. Okay. It was going to be in line with runway 1 here. Now, when air traffic control, ATC, asked it to change runways, it had to veer out here to the right. Okay, it had to veer to the northeast here. It came out here on the east side of the Potomac River to line up with runway 33 right here. But there's something else that happened here. Again, the helicopter coming from the air base up here, the Army Corps Air Base, was coming down here, and it was a predestined flight run. All the military aircraft, all the Army aircraft has done this day after day, the same route, right down the Potomac River, on the east side of the river, flying along the coastal side of the river here. They do this every day. This was pre-planned, okay? Coming down the Potomac River here, okay? All the way here. When the PSA regional aircraft run by American Airlines met up with a helicopter right here, they crashed into the Potomac River. Now I want to tell you something else. When this happened last night, number one, it was dark, like I said earlier. Okay? It happened at 8:48 p.m. Eastern Time last night. It was dark. All the lights of the city were out, where everybody could see them.
Make it heading to record 3130. 3130, go around. Someone's been 2705, maintain. West runway 33, circle to 33.
Okay? You can see all the lights around the city. Okay? All the lights around the city. The apartment buildings, the commercial buildings. Out here, we have the airport here. And off here to the right, that's off camera, this is coming from the Kennedy Center here. This camera's from the Kennedy Center. Okay? Out here that you don't see is the Capitol building. There are a lot of lights. Now, this helicopter here, okay? Both pilots, the captain, the Army captain, and the chief warrant officer. They were pilots. The other man on board the helicopter was a staff sergeant, crew chief. Okay? The pilots were wearing night vision goggles. Now with that, it's a narrow field of vision. It's a narrow field of vision. Okay? They only see one direction. They don't have peripheral vision out to the sides. With all the lights around the city, the ATC asked them, can you see the aircraft in question coming into runway 33 at Reagan International? They said they saw it. But with all the other lights around the city, it was almost impossible for them to see it. Almost completely impossible for them to see it. There's no way. There's absolutely no way they could have seen it. Plus, there were other aircraft in the air as well. So what happened here? Okay? It was obviously mistaken identity. Total mistaken identity. These people were put in harm's way. All these people were put into harm's way. Obviously mistaken. Okay. The helicopter did not see the aircraft until it was too late. Then the two collided over the Potomac River. Again, let me put this into action. Okay. Right here is a helicopter. This is the airliner here.
Take a heading to record 3130.
Okay, it's gone. You saw the crash. That's what actually happened. Okay? The pilot's narrow vision. They had no peripheral vision out to either side. Okay? They were wearing nighttime goggles. Okay? Now, George Rashad said there are reports the air traffic controller was working two stations at the same time. That's a possibility. What you also need to know is the Army helicopter could not communicate with the plane. They were on two different frequencies. The plane could not also talk to the helicopter. Two different frequencies. Government aircraft frequencies cannot communicate with military, and the military cannot communicate with other planes. Only the air traffic controller can control each of the aircraft from the military and the civilian side. So there's the other problem. Neither aircraft could talk to each other. So the helicopter, with its field of view obscured to the side, did not see the plane until the last minute, and by then it was too late. They could have pulled up, they could have gone very low and off to the side, and they would have been fine. But that didn't happen. They crashed into each other, unfortunately. It's a sad state of affairs. I've been monitoring this all day long. I've been in communication with the San Diego Air Traffic Control Tower that I was familiar with when I was working in San Diego. I got to talk to air traffic controllers there, and I heard them crying. Grown men and women crying because what happened in Washington, D.C. last night. Very sad what happened. Very, very sad what happened. Now, I'm going to put up another picture here that I showed last night. I should say not last night, but I showed this morning on earlier broadcasts. The reason I'm showing you this is I want to show you what the helicopter looked like. It was an Army Air Corps Black Hawk helicopter. Okay. This area here you see over the Potomac River is the area where the parts of the aircraft, both aircraft, were found. Okay. You can see portions of Reagan International Airport right there to the left-hand side of the Potomac River here. Okay. With that said, there's more to this story. Okay. Let me show you the aircraft here. This is the American Eagle CRJ-70 IER. Okay. Last night, it had 64 passengers on board and 4 crew members. Actually, I think it was 60 passengers and 4 crew members. Okay. 2 pilots and the other 2 people that waited on passengers in the aircraft. Okay. Last night, there were reports that 4 persons were recovered. Those 4 persons were dead. There were no survivors of this crash. The emergency lights that you see in the background are at Reagan International. Those are fire trucks, police vehicles, and ambulances, all lined up along the outside runways of Reagan International, hoping to transport people from the Potomac River to hospitals around Washington, D.C. All these lights that you see here in the background are police, fire, and ambulances lined up on the runway at Reagan International. As a result, they closed the airport. They closed the airport for many reasons. Number one, all the other vehicles on the runway. Number two, they closed it for investigation. They closed the airport for investigation of what happened here. But this was the American Eagle flight that crashed into the helicopter crashed into it. It goes further. Like I said, I've done a lot of research today. And in some ways, it's been very hard. As a police officer, I've been in very harrowing situations in my life, but none like this. None quite like this. Now, authorities say they fear there are absolutely no survivors, and I can attest to that right now. The water at the Potomac River was 35 degrees, very cold. 2 days prior, there was ice on the top of the river. Ice on the top of the river. People that came into the water, either through the helicopter or from the plane, were immediately exposed to very cold water. It's likely that there were no survivors before it even hit the water. When the plane was crashed into by the helicopter, the fuselage was cut in half. The fuselage was cut in half. People died probably instantly. They didn't even have a chance to drown. The Black Hawk helicopter carrying 2 pilots. Like I said, a captain and a chief warrant officer, and a staff sergeant crew chief, collided with the aircraft short of runway 33 while the aircraft was attempting to land at Reagan International Airport at approximately 8:48 p.m. last night. The regional commercial jet operated by PSA for American Airlines. Okay, American Airlines acquired PSA Airlines years ago. PSA was a California airline. American bought them out a long time ago. This aircraft was carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members. The Black Hawk helicopter was carrying the 2 pilots and the crew chief. And you saw what happened. When the helicopter hit the aircraft, both of them burst into flames. A huge explosion over Washington. And both aircraft plummeted into the Potomac River. The collision is likely to be the worst U.S. aviation disaster in almost a quarter century. Terry C. said the explosion that she saw, they were all gone immediately. The plane was blown into 4 parts. I heard the plane was blown into 3 parts, but the fuselage was cut in half. Now, President Trump addressed the nation at 11 a.m. this morning. When President Trump got up to the podium in the press center, in the Brady Press Center, he talked about what happened. He called for a moment of silence, at which time he introduced the new Transportation Secretary. After Transportation Secretary spoke, he introduced Pete Hegseth, who's the Department of Defense Secretary now. Both of them spoke. Pete Hegseth, the new DOD Secretary, addressed the nation and the press. They all expressed their sincere condolences to the families of the victims of the airliner and the helicopter. Right now, American Airlines and the DOD are attempting to notify the next of kin so the families can mourn and receive their family members at an appropriate time. As was explained this morning, there were some skaters. The American dance skate team, ice skaters. I believe there are 12 members of the American ice skating team on board the aircraft. These were women, young women, and their coaches. There were also some Russian coaches and skaters in the aircraft. And their families are all being notified now, or should already be notified. We will soon see the victims' names come out in the media sometime probably within the next 24 to 48 hours. At the news conference, the Washington, D.C. fire, the EMS chief John Donnelly said the search and rescue mission had transitioned to a recovery mission, saying officials do not believe anyone survived the crash. This morning, they said at least 30 people from the plane and 1 person from the helicopter had been recovered. The helicopter apparently flew into the path of the jet as it was landing at the airport in Washington, D.C. Crews are still searching for other casualties, but they did not believe there would be any survivors, which would make it the deadliest air disaster in nearly 24 years. Donnelly said, "We are now at the point where we are switching to a rescue operation from a recovery operation. From a rescue operation to a recovery operation. We don't believe there are any survivors. What we do know, the Army Black Hawk helicopter collided with a passenger jet attempting to land at runway 33 at Reagan International Airport last night at 8:48 p.m. Again, there were 60 passengers and 4 crew members aboard the plane. The Army helicopter had collided with the jet was on a training flight. 3 soldiers were on board. A captain, a chief warrant officer, pilots, and the crew chief, a staff sergeant in the Army. Officials say they do not believe anyone on either plane or helicopter survived. Washington's National Airport will remain closed at least till noon today, and possibly into tomorrow. Passengers on the flight included a group of figure skaters. their coaches and family members, and some Russian figure skaters as well, according to the U.S. figure skating team. Now, Nancy Kerrigan, who was a figure skater from way back in the 80s, was at a news conference earlier, and she was in tears. As you remember, if you were back in the day watching the figure skating competition and you saw Nancy Kerrigan skate, and she was hit on the leg by another figure skater who was arrested and paid the price for hitting Nancy Kerrigan and disabling her. Nancy Kerrigan was there at the press conference as it was in tears. The head of the figure skating team from the United States was also there and talked about the families of the figure skaters. A very unfortunate situation. A very, very unfortunate situation. I'm not so sure I would even want to be part of that. That would be one of the hardest things I would ever have to do. It was a sad day. John Francis said, yes, Tanya Harding. She's a figure skater that hit Nancy Kerrigan in the leg with basically a baton. Okay? Basically a baton. Tanya wanted all the glory. Tanya Harding, the figure skater, wanted all the glory, and it was looking like Nancy Kerrigan was going to get it. Nancy Kerrigan ended up getting it. Even though she didn't win the award, she got all the attention. And Tanya Harding went to jail. Today is a very sad day in American aviation history and the history of the United States. We lost a great many souls today as a result of that aircraft crash last night. Again, the identities of the victims will be made known sometime within the next 24 to 48 hours. Unreal. Literally unreal. Now, today, last night you may have seen some recovery boats in the water. You may have seen some recovery boats in the water. I'm going to show you a picture here. Right here. This is one of many recovery boats here. There were small boats and that large boat as well. There was wreckage sticking up out of the water. Wreckage sticking up out of the water. Okay. You see the recovery boats, and you also see wreckage sticking up out of the water. The Potomac River here is about 7 feet deep. Okay. The Army and the Pentagon launched an investigation today after the plane crash last night, where the military helicopter collided with the aircraft near Reagan National Airport. Sad. Rebecca the Explorer is asking, was it true that people from Russia there to see President Trump? I don't think the people were there to see President Trump. I don't think there was people there from Russia to see President Trump. President Trump had made notifications to the Russian people. President Trump yesterday, or last night and this morning, spoke to the Russian people and told them what had happened. Okay? I don't know anything about the Russian people there to see President Trump. Okay? But that's the story, guys. Canada Warrior is saying that air traffic control was a problem. I think we're going to know that in the near future. I don't think we're going to know that anytime soon, though. I do not think we're going to know that anytime soon. The investigation is going to take weeks, if not months. Weeks, if not months. Here's another picture here. Right here. That's one of the rescue boats or the recovery boats with the wreckage here sticking up out of the water. Again, John Donnelly, the chief of the District of Columbia Fire Department, said today that we don't think there are any survivors from this accident. We have recovered, this was this early this morning, we've recovered at least 27 people from the plane and one from the helicopter. Very unfortunate. Charlene is saying the Potomac so cold in January, search and rescue is difficult. I absolutely agree. Search and rescue is very difficult. Now there is one good thing, that the water was shallow. If this water had been 100 feet deep, it would have been a very different rescue, very different recovery. Okay. Now, do any of you have questions about what I've been talking about? I want to make sure we are on the same page here. You guys have actually asked some very good questions here. Tin Pearl says live scanner gave details including the number of body bags needed and black garbage bags needed and the reason why. I agree, they did a great job. They did a great job. Okay. I have to applaud not just the first responders on the scene, but also the dispatchers. One of the things you may not know about dispatchers, they suffered the scene as well. You don't have to be at the scene to suffer the consequences of a disaster when lives are lost. It doesn't matter whether it's just one life or dozens. One life lost is a tragedy. In this case, there were dozens of people killed. Nobody probably felt anything except for the blast, and that was over. The crash and the blast, and it was over. Probably nobody even hit the water alive. Okay? But can you imagine the dive teams in the water last night? Murky water at best. And it's nighttime. They're operating with searchlights in the water to illuminate the scene. It's hard to see as it was. And then they suffer the cold as well. They had on wetsuits, what they call wetsuits, that allows the water to seep into the suit, and the body heat warms up their water inside the suit to keep those divers warm. But they're suffering. Even the divers are out there, they're suffering. I'm sure that divers were only able to stay in the water a certain amount of time. And then they too had to come up and be replaced by other divers. Okay? That's quite a scene last night. And Rebecca the Explorer said it had to be gas and oil in the water as well. Exactly. It's airline fuel, okay? Airline engine fuel and oil. Not good. It's not just regular gas as we know it. Aircraft fuel is very dangerous as well. If there had been even a spark, it could have lit the surface of the water on fire. We've seen it happen before. Hey Jude is asking, I wonder why more bodies have not been recovered by now. Perhaps a strong current? That's a possibility. But again, that water is extremely cold. That water is extremely cold. And the amount of time that the divers can spend in the water and the amount of equipment that they can send over there on boats, because this is nowhere near shore, on boats in the middle of the river, and they have to peel up pieces of aircraft to get at people. And they may have had to send divers inside the plane and inside the helicopter to retrieve the bodies. As of this morning, only one body from the helicopter had been recovered. 2 other members of that helicopter team were still in there. Dr. James Place has said, what river was this at? It was at the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. The Potomac River in Washington, D.C. Linda Covington is asking, is American Airlines responsible for financial assistance and damages? Yes, absolutely they are. Let me try to find American Airlines CEO was on the air earlier and talked about what had happened. Let me see if I can find you that video here. Okay. I did find it. Give me just a second. I'll put it up here for you. I should have had this video ready to go, and I forgot about it before I came on the air. Okay, let me show you this video. This is the CEO of American Airlines. Robert Isom is his name.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robert Isom, the CEO of American Airlines. I want to brief you on a serious accident that occurred involving an American Eagle aircraft. The aircraft was operated by PSA Airlines, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of American Airlines. First and most importantly, I'd like to express our deep sorrow about these events. This is a difficult day for all of us at American Airlines, and our efforts now are focused entirely on the needs of our passengers, crew members, partners, first responders, along with their families and loved ones. I know that there are many questions, and at this early stage, I'll not be able to answer all of them, but I do want to share the information I have at this time. American Eagle Flight 5342, operated by PSA Airlines, a CRJ 700 aircraft traveling from Wichita, Kansas to Washington Reagan National Airport, has been involved in an accident near Washington, D.C. It appears to have collided with a military aircraft on approach. Flight 5342 was under the command of 4 crew members and carried 60 passengers for a total of 64 people on board. We are actively working with local, state, and federal authorities on emergency response efforts, and the American Airlines care team has been activated to assist our passengers and their families. We're cooperating fully with the National Transportation Safety Board in its investigation and will continue to provide all the information we can. Our cooperation is without pause, and we want to learn everything we can about today's events. That work will take time, but anything we can do now, we're doing. And right now, that means focusing on taking care of all passengers and crew involved, as well as their families. Members of our GO team will be on their way to Washington, D.C., and I'll be heading there shortly as well. We know that many people will be concerned for the welfare of their loved ones, and we've set up a special helpline friends and family can call at 1-800-679-8215. That's 1-800-679-8215. If you believe you've had friends or family on board American Eagle Flight 5342. We understand and appreciate that people are eager for information. Please know that we'll continue to share accurate and timely information as soon as we can. But anything we must report must be accurate. We owe that to everyone involved. Our team of highly trained professionals will be working around the clock to support our passengers, crew, and their families however we can, and we'll update you as soon as we can. Thank you.
Okay, that was from American Airlines CEO, Mr. Icahn. Any questions about that? That was earlier this morning. 60 passengers on the jet, 4 crew members, 2 flight attendants, and 2 pilots on board that plane. Rebecca says this was not pilot error this time, it was ATC at fault. I believe the ATC was partially at fault. Again, you got to realize this, okay? A lot of people don't get it. The ATC could only talk with the helicopter pilot, and the ATC could only talk with the airline. Okay? The helicopter crew could not talk over to the military crew, and the military crew could not talk with the other aircraft. It was only the ATC that could talk to each other. Okay? Dr. Jamin's Place says the ATC should have maintained the 2-kilometer buffer zone. You're right. You're absolutely right. The ATC had asked the helicopter, the military helicopter, to maintain distance, to go around the plane, to go off the flight path that it normally would take and make sure it would not collide with the plane. But again, what happened? Both pilots of the helicopter, the Black Hawk helicopter, had blinders on. They had very narrow field of vision with those nighttime vision goggles. Okay? They could not see out to the periphery. So they had no idea what was actually going on around them. They could possibly see other aircraft. They could just see the apartment buildings, the government buildings, the commercial buildings, the aircraft lights at the airport, and that's about all. But the area was lit up like a Christmas tree, like I showed you. That whole area was lit up like a Christmas tree. I don't believe there was any way that the military helicopter could have seen the plane. And I believe ATC tried to get the helicopter to maintain a 2-kilometer distance from the plane and go around from the other side of the plane, which did not happen. Didn't happen. Dr. Jamin's Place says that's when you do port starboard calls like degrees and clocks. Sometimes ATC does use degrees and clocks. Sometimes they do. But unfortunately, last night's incident, it didn't happen. But ATC did ask the helicopter to move around. Did the helicopter do that? Or did the helicopter even hear that call go out? They did hear the call that there was another plane in the area. They acknowledged that. They said, yes, they saw it. But I don't believe they did see it. The investigation is pending. By the way, the National Transportation Safety Board has recovered the black boxes from the helicopter and the commercial aircraft. And they're taken to a hangar, a specialized hangar from the Transportation Safety Board in DC to analyze what's on those black box recorders. So that's going to be done. At some point in time, once the people have been pulled out of the aircraft and the aircraft have been deemed safe, they will lift the aircraft out of the water. The aircraft will then be put on flatbed trailers and hauled to a hangar in Washington, D.C., and the aircraft they will try to fit the pieces back together. Not necessarily perfectly together, but next to each other, where they should belong. They're going to try to recreate what happened. The NTSB is going to try to recreate the accident, both on the ground in that hangar with the pieces of aircraft there and over on the ground near the river. They're going to be analyzing this over and over and over. They're going to analyze the conversations from ATC to the helicopter, ATC to the plane, and the plane to the ATC, and the helicopter to the ATC. Now, I played the information from both ATC, the helicopter, and the plane for you. I played that for you. But again, the NTSB is going to go over all of that. And at some point in time, probably months from now, they will probably release the conclusion of the investigation. It could be a year or so from now. Okay? I'm just telling you. It could be a year or so from now. We're hoping it's only months. Now, the best and greatest, the brightest people in the world are investigators from the NTSB. I've known two of them. Throughout the years. Those people were geniuses, literally. Okay? Rebecca's asking, was that Black Hawk armed? Not that we know of. It was on a training mission. Only a training mission. I don't believe it had any arms on board. Okay? No arms on board. Tinny Pearl saying the helicopter is looking for flight to go to the long runway number 1. No, the helicopter was not looking for runway number 1. But the commercial aircraft, the American aircraft, was looking for runway number 1. They knew where it was. They swung out northeast bound over the Potomac River off to the east side of the Potomac River, and then they were going to swing back into runway 33. They originally were going to runway 1. The helicopter was going to go south of there to another Army air base. Okay? The last minute change to the shorter runway for the American aircraft was runway 33. Okay? So the aircraft, the civilian aircraft veered to the northeast like this, and the helicopter, also on normal flight path, was also veering to the southeast. Okay? Both aircraft were veering in that same area where they met. Okay? The commercial aircraft went out to the northeast to try to line up and make the turn into runway 33. Trying to make the turn into runway 33. At the same time, the normal flight path of the helicopter from the northwest was out over the Potomac River to the southeast. And then it veered over right into the side of the American Airlines aircraft. And that's when the collision happened. Okay? Arnold Smith says the Black Hawk was on a training mission heading for a military base in Virginia. Absolutely right. Both Reagan International and that other military base are in Virginia. Yes, Tinny Pearl said last minute changes. Yes. It was basically a last minute change within about a 60-second time period before the accident happened. That's how it happened. That's how it went down. These are all great questions, guys. I have no problem with that. Brad and James, this has nothing to do with our conversation tonight. Okay? What President Trump did this morning has nothing to do with tonight. Okay, I'm trying to give you the information about why these aircraft went down. Okay? Linda Covington said Captain Scully went down into the Hudson River in New York. He landed his plane on the river. And yes, they can do that. But the problem with last night was this aircraft had been struck by a military helicopter. It had no chance of survival. It had no absolute chance for survival at all. Okay? It's sad. It's a very sad state of affairs. Brad and James, you're wrong. If you want to talk about this, email me. Email me and we can talk. Okay? My telephone number is up here. You can call me after this show is over or call me tomorrow. You can also email me at rltnspdema@gmail.com and we can talk. Tinny Pearl just gave us a $20 super chat. Thanks for that, Tin. We appreciate that. I just gave you an email sticker on your super chat. I'm giving you a like for that as well. Thank you so much. That was awesome. He said thank you for being awesome. I say thank you for that super chat. That means a lot to us. Brad and James is saying, don't the military helicopter want 2 beacons and warning alarms on the helicopter? What happened to the woman beacons? Okay, the beacons were there. The warning beacons on the aircraft were there. Okay? You saw when I showed you the landing lights on the aircraft, on the American Airlines aircraft. You saw a great, big, huge white light on the front of the aircraft. But the helicopter didn't see it till it was too late. Yes, there were warning lights on the Black Hawk helicopter and warning aircraft lights on the plane. They were very visible. Dr. James Place is asking, has there ever been a mid-air collision like this before? Yes, about 24 years ago. There hasn't been anything like this in 24 years. This is the worst aircraft disaster in 24 years. A long time ago. I believe this was back in 1979. PSA Airlines in San Diego was trying to come into Lindbergh Field. It crash landed near a neighborhood near where I later lived. Crash landed into the neighborhood and it plowed head first or nose first right into the ground. At the time, I was working for the Poway Volunteer Fire Department, and we went there. Our ambulance was not used to recover any bodies or anything else, but we were there standing by. I was there when the San Diego Fire Department was putting out the flames from that aircraft going down. It was bad. I do not remember how many people were on board that aircraft. It was really bad. Arnold Smith says here they were using night vision goggles. Okay? Make and model known to the public. Again, those night vision goggles limit your vision. You have no side vision at all. You have forward vision only. So that also limited the helicopter pilots from knowing what was going on around them. It's like tunnel vision. Like tunnel vision. Any other questions here? These are great questions, guys. Please continue. Please continue. Canadian Peter once says he's not getting notifications. Dave, and I'm going to address this to everybody. If you're not getting notified when we're coming on the air, be advised. Unsubscribe and immediately resubscribe. Unsubscribe and immediately resubscribe. When you resubscribe or subscribe, make sure you click on this little notification bell. Right next to the subscription button, there's a notification bell. Click on that. When you click on that notification bell, there are 3 items that will pop up on the drop-down menu. Click on the word ALL, all. That gets you notified when we come on the air. Be advised. YouTube doesn't abide by its own laws or even regulations. They don't notify everybody when they want to be notified when something's coming on the air. They just don't do it. Plus, because of the sensitivity of things we talk about here on this program, they don't like me. They don't like this channel. So they don't normally talk about anything that's going on here. Very rarely do people get notified. Even some of our longest moderators here don't get notified. They have to unsubscribe and immediately resubscribe. Okay? Please do that. Since last Friday, we've had YouTube has unsubscribed 15 people from this program. I'm asking all of you now, please resubscribe if you've been taken off. And if you are watching this program for the first time, please subscribe to this program. Okay? Let me explain something here as well. In April, it will be 6 years since we first came onto YouTube. My first channel was taken off the air, taken completely down because I talked about COVID. I talked about the jab. YouTube didn't like it. YouTube was being told what to do by the FBI, who was getting told what to do by Biden. It's known now. It's known now. Biden told the FBI to lean on social media to make sure they censor and get rid of people that don't abide by the Biden guidelines. So my channel that had 25,000 subscribers was taken off. I started this new channel almost 2 years ago. And we now have 6,186 subscribers. We've lost 15 subscribers in the last 7 days. So please, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. And if you're subscribed, please unsubscribe and resubscribe immediately, and then click on that little notification bell so you get notified when we come on the air, hopefully. Okay? YouTube still doesn't like me. For whatever reason, I really don't care anymore. I've already notified Elon Musk. Elon Musk is already being looked into it. Elon Musk and the President of the United States are going to take on YouTube. At some point in time, the CEO of YouTube is going to get her hands spanked. There's big time censoring going on. Rebecca the Explorer has been on YouTube since 2011. YouTube doesn't like her either. She's gotten spanked by YouTube before. They're also censoring her, keeping people from subscribing to her channel, just like they're doing mine. I would love to have another 23,000 subscribers now. It took me 4 years to get 25,000. Now, 2 years later, we only have 6,186 subscribers right now. Please change that. Let's grow this channel. It's not for me. I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for everyone. We talk about disasters. We talk about emergencies all around this planet. Not just the United States, but all around this world. We talk about hurricanes. We talk about tornadoes. We talk about tidal changes. For example, that happened in the British Isles, England and such. They had really high seas this past weekend. Huge bad storm coming in. Very high seas that damaged property in England. Do you think anybody else besides me talked about it? No. No. Dr. James Place said he only got warned once that I was coming on the air, and they retracted it after he filed a report. Isn't that interesting? They went after Dr. James' place. He got his hand slapped. He sent a reply to them going after YouTube, and they removed his strike. They only do that if you file a report. Now, guys, I was trying to cover President Trump's inauguration. I had permission from Right Side Broadcast Network to simulcast the inauguration. YouTube gave me a strike. They took my program off the air and gave me a strike. They didn't even let me cover the inauguration. Later that day, they put the program back on the air, but by then it was too late. I could not cover the rest of the inauguration because of YouTube. They did it on purpose. They've done it on purpose. Renee Sevi says she sent in multiple complaints and YouTube ignores her. Not surprising. That's the way YouTube does business. It's disgusting. And at some point in time, YouTube is going to get its hand slapped, and hand slapped in a big way. Unreal. The only thing that YouTube told me after I filed a complaint against them about taking my program off on November 5th was, it wasn't November 5th, I'm sorry, January 20th, was, we're sorry, we made a mistake. We're sorry we made a mistake. It's unreal. Unreal. They get away with whatever they want to do. That's a sad state of affairs. They get away with whatever they want to do. Okay? They take good people like myself and Rebecca and Dr. James' place and others off the air because they let teeny boppers make them money. They let pornographers make them money. Yes, there's porn here on YouTube. That's allowed. But if I were to do that, they'd take my channel down. Unreal what they're allowed to allow happening. It's unreal. Does anybody have any more questions about this disaster last night in Washington, D.C.? Thanks, Renee. I'm going to preach it. I'm going to preach it all day long and twice on Sunday. It's disgusting what YouTube has gotten away with. Totally disgusting. Taking a channel down that had 25,000 plus subscribers. Taking Rebecca's down and reducing her viability. Lying about how much she makes from people giving her money here on YouTube. Just like you guys give me super chats. People giving Rebecca super chats as well. But with her, they lie about the money that she's made from people giving her money. They lie about the money that YouTube is putting on her. They put commercials on her videos. They lie to her about the money she's been making off of YouTube. As a result, after 11 years, I guess it wasn't last week, the week before last, the 3rd of January, actually not 3rd, I'm sorry, it was January 21st, Rebecca just got a $100 check from YouTube after 11 years. Fortunately for me, you guys have also helped me and given me a lot more money than Rebecca's gotten. But Rebecca's been on the air a very long time. YouTube puts their commercials on her programs. They make all kinds of money and they only give her pennies off of that, just like they give me. But they don't allow her to make money. They hide the information. They steal money from Rebecca. They steal money from you as well. That's why I have 2 PayPal locations. I have 1 Venmo location, and I have my P.O. box. That's why I have those things, so you guys can send me cards and letters inside those cards and letters, you can put a check or even cash inside those cards and letters, so I get the money directly. Okay? That's how that happens. Unreal. Unreal. James Place made a good point right now. James Place said they could make a real living being a porn star, but Jesus wouldn't like that. And I agree. Yes, I could probably make a good living as a porn star or broadcasting porn. I'm not going to do that. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. Google and YouTube, by the way, Rebecca, for those people that are here, Google YouTube is joined now. Okay, it's not just two separate corporations. Years ago, YouTube and Google joined each other. They're together now. Now, Heidi Petrick just gave us another $20 super chat. Thank you for that, Heidi. I'm giving you a YouTube sticker on your super chat. I'm also giving you a thumbs up for that. God bless you, Heidi. We appreciate that so much. Heidi Petrick gives us super chats, and she also makes sure that other people get memberships to this channel. She's given 30-day memberships to this channel all the time, and we appreciate that. If you ever get a membership, a 30-day membership from Heidi or anyone else, please thank them for that membership. Please thank them for that membership. Members get a lot of good deals here. Okay? Canadian Patriot One says they would pay to make him stop being a porn star. Yeah, probably me too. Probably me too. Rebecca said she did a video about YouTube today too. I'm not going to do that. I talk smack about YouTube all the time. I don't have to do a special video about YouTube. They're cutting their own throats. At some point in time, President Trump is going to go after YouTube in a big way. In a big way. YouTube cut President Trump off 4 years ago, so he couldn't post any videos on YouTube. Elon Musk and Elon Musk and President Trump is going after YouTube. It's a matter of time. No, I'm not going to do the ha-ha. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Does anybody have any more comments about what happened in Washington, D.C. last night? Or the investigation? Or about what exactly happened? Or the wherefores and hows and why fors? I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody would have. I'm more than happy. I believe everybody should know. I believe everyone should know what's going on. Hold on a second. Oh, this is great. Rebecca says she was saddened by that accident last night. She heard about it earlier this morning. I heard about it last night, and for those people that are only hearing about it from me tonight, I was on the air earlier this morning and talked about it. Last night, I did not feel it appropriate to go on the air about it. Why? Because I was not going to go on there to talk about it because I didn't want anybody to think that I was trying to make light of a situation that was not. It was a bad situation. I don't make light of anything. Okay? I was also not, I repeat, I was not going to even try to come on the air. There's too much conjecture going on. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. I try to get the facts. Now, guys, I was a former police officer. I am a former police officer. I go after facts. If I can't have facts, I don't want to have anything. Plain and simple. I go after the facts. And I don't go and talk about the facts until I have the facts. Okay? I just don't do it. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it at all. Not now, not ever. I don't believe in doing it. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. I've seen it done before many times. Very, very wrong. Now, I want to go in here. I'm going to bring up a map of earthquakes here in just a second. I want to talk about some earthquakes because it's a good thing to talk about. Okay? There are other disasters besides what happened last night. Okay? I've given you all the whys and wherefores about what happened last night in New York. Now let me turn this camera around here. Okay? I'm going to go right over here. This is the New Madrid Fault. Again, here in Ridgely, Tennessee. YouTube usually talks, or not YouTube, I'm sorry. Usually USGS only shows us earthquakes in Ridgely, Tennessee, but they don't show all of the quakes. Again, this is a place that has a lot of earthquakes every day. Today, this is the EMSC map, the European map, okay? This is not even the USGS. This is the European map. This earthquake in Ridgely, Tennessee is a 1.82 earthquake. 1.82 tremor. I'll guarantee you, if we were to go in and pull the seismograph for this quake, it wouldn't just be 1.82 tremor. There are dozens of tremors and dozens of minor earthquakes here as well. Okay? I've actually seen 3.2, 3.5, and 3.7 earthquakes in Ridgely, Tennessee, on the east side of the New Madrid Fault. Okay? Usually once a week, we talk about the New Madrid Fault. I show you earthquakes in Arkansas. I show you earthquakes in Missouri. I show you earthquakes in Tennessee. I show you earthquakes in Illinois and Indiana, up and down the entire New Madrid Fault from south to north. Earthquakes up and down. Does USGS ever show it? Rarely. Rarely, if ever, do they ever show earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault. They just don't. They don't do it. Over here, these are two earthquakes in Oklahoma. Again, these are tremors. This is a 1.22 tremor here, just a 1.22 tremor. They don't feel this. Nobody feels tremors. Nobody even feels minor earthquakes. This is a 1.43 minor tremor here. Winoka, Oklahoma. Now, right down here in southwestern Texas. This is an oil field, guys. This whole area is an oil field. That is why we have 20 plus earthquakes there. Oil field, guys. Oil field. Let me pull this map down and enlarge it, and I'll show you the oil drill points in this area. Seismic energy comes off of the Pacific Ocean, off of the Pacific Plate. When it finds a drill point, it doesn't matter whether it's a drill point looking for steam from a volcano to generate electricity or oil out of the ground. It doesn't matter. Every drill point is a man-made earthquake fault. And as a result, we get earthquakes. This earthquake is over in Stanton, Texas area. This is a 1.1 tremor. 1.1 tremor. Look where the drill points are. Here is an oil and gas well here. Here's an oil and gas well here. Here's an oil and gas well here. What is this? This is a holding pond. And this particular area here, they have a pump and jack. They're putting treated sewage water down into the hole. They're putting treated sewage water down in the hole to extract oil and gas. That's what they're doing with this particular pond here. Okay? But there's earthquakes all over this area, guys. Everywhere where you see one of these drill points, they're pulling up oil and gas. There's a pump and jack there. There's a pump and jack here. Stanton, Texas. About 3 or 4 months ago, they had a 5.0 earthquake here. Stanton, Texas. Over here. This is Midland, Texas. This is a 1.60 tremor here. This is a 1.30 tremor here, Midland, Texas. This is a 1.30 in Midland, Texas as well. Let's look at Midland, Texas. Oil and gas platforms all over here. There are oil and gas platforms everywhere here. Okay? Right next to this earthquake is a pump and jack right there. Pump and jacks all over this place. Right here. Pump and jacks here. And there's also holding areas here for oil and gas. These are storage tanks here. So they're pulling the oil and gas out of the ground and storing it there temporarily to transfer it. Every one of these plots you see here, whether they're square or rectangle, are oil and gas plots. This whole area here. This is just a 1.3 tremor here. There's more. Up here to the north, this is Ackerley, Texas. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake. Now, Ackerley, Texas also had a large 5.0 earthquake hit here just about 2.5 months ago. I believe it was sometime in November. But again, look at the oil and gas pumps all over this area. Now, what you're seeing here are oil and gas platforms here, right all over this area. The oil and gas tunnel or the drill point can go horizontal like this and follow the ground movement underneath the ground, or it can go perpendicular sideways like this, or it can go straight down. Okay? Straight down up to 5 miles deep. That is why we have earthquakes off to the side of these oil and gas platforms. The hole may be straight down, it might be perpendicular sideways, or it could be horizontal like this. Okay, that's how that happens. Again, a 2.1 earthquake in Ackerley, Texas today. 22 miles west-southwest of Ackerley, Texas. Okay, let's go further. Further to the southwest here. This is Toyah, Texas. This is a 1.8 tremor here. Let's enlarge this a little bit more. Okay. This is a 1.5 tremor here. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake here. Right here is that's a 1.5 there. Right here is a 2.3 near Culberson County, Texas. 2.3 minor earthquake there. Right here, they're saying this is in White City, New Mexico. This is not in New Mexico at all. This is in Texas. The map is wrong about the location. The map is wrong. This is a 1.3 tremor here. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake there. This is a 1.8 tremor there. And this is a 1.9 tremor here. You see where it changed? Culberson County. These were all in Culberson County, not New Mexico. They can't get their locations right as well. Okay? These are oil and gas platforms, guys. That's why we get these earthquakes here. Okay? I want to show you this. With this particular map, I can show you more earthquakes than USGS will show you. USGS will never show you this many earthquakes, ever. Not ever. Right here, southern Utah, south central Utah, Moab, Utah. This is a 1.69 tremor here. Moab, Utah. Guess what? Let's zoom in here. I want to show you what's going on here. Earthquake fault time. Earthquake fault time, that's what's going on. Where you see these rivers, these are earthquake faults. Earthquake faults. There's also fault here. This fault here, following the river, all the way through this area. This is a cross fault here. Okay? Faults all over that area. Further out here to the west, Milford, Utah, central Utah. What is here? What do you think is here? This is a Black Rock Desert volcano. This area is a Black Rock Desert volcano. I've been there. I took a rock pick and a hammer, and I pulled obsidian off the volcano. I pulled shell rock off the volcano to look for fossils. Okay? Here, in the volcanic area, we have a 0.81 microquake. A 0.81 microquake. This is at the Black Rock Desert volcano in Utah, Milford, Utah. To the north, Fairfield, Utah, 1.05. This is a 0.63 microquake. This is south of Salt Lake in Bluffdale, Utah. Right here is Enterprise, Utah, to the north. Out here in the mountain areas just east of Salt Lake City, northeast Salt Lake City. This is a 1.15 tremor here. The Great Salt Lake is right here. Now, if you remember, in 2018, right here, right in this area here, Magna, Utah, we had a 5.8 earthquake. We had a large 5.8 earthquake right here. This whole area of Salt Lake City, all this area here, not just Salt Lake, but the outlying towns, felt that earthquake. I lived all the way down here. The earthquake that happened was up here. Up here was the epicenter, 25 miles to the north. When I lived down here, all I felt was small earthquake shaking, like a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake, small shaking. It happened just before 7 a.m. that morning. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, and I felt the shaking. My whole family did. But a 5.8 earthquake hit here on March 18th, 2018, my mother's birthday. Okay, this is the Wasatch Fault here, the Wasatch Fault. The Wasatch Fault extends from up here in southwestern Idaho all the way down here into Utah. It goes all the way down here in the southern central Utah, down here. The Wasatch Fault goes all the way down here into south central Utah right here. Now, what is interesting about the Wasatch Fault? The Wasatch Fault has 7 segments. One segment up here in southwestern Idaho, another segment right at the border of Utah and Idaho, more segments down here, and more segments extending down here into central Utah. But the interesting thing is, the Wasatch Fault is, well, I shouldn't say that. The scientists are saying that each segment of the Wasatch Fault could sustain a 7.5 earthquake. Each individual segment could have a 6.5 to 7.5 earthquake. Any one segment or the entire fault zone could have up to a 7.5 earthquake. In any individual segment or the entire fault could sustain upwards of a 7.5 earthquake. It's going to happen. It will happen. I promise you it's going to happen. Okay? That's what's going on here. Now, we have one of my friends' surgery that you've seen here on the channel in the past days and weeks. Sergey lives up here north of Salt Lake City. He lives up in this area north of Salt Lake City. His house is creaking. Every day he feels his house creak. It's not his house settling. This whole area is having small tremors. This whole area is having small tremors. They're not even showing up on the map because the agency doesn't want them shown. The agency doesn't want these earthquakes shown. But this whole area is still sustaining minor tremors and earthquakes now. His house is creaking, sometimes more than others. The house is not settling, it's the earthquakes. Okay? Down here. This is Moapa Town, Nevada. Moapa, Nevada. This is a 1.2 tremor. This whole area is moving. This whole area of Nevada is moving, guys. Moving all over the place. Right here. This is a 1.9 in Boulder City, Nevada. Boulder City, Nevada. There are small earthquake faults all over Nevada. Right here, this is Sandy Valley, Nevada. Let's go further north here. Oh, crud. Sorry about that, guys. I can't believe they do that. They've got to sustain themselves by putting those commercials or ads on this platform. Okay, this is a 1.8 in Boulder City, Nevada. Okay, let's continue here. This is Indian Springs here with 0.3 microquake. This is Beatty, Nevada. Beatty, Nevada is a different story. Beatty, Nevada is a volcanic area. Volcanic area just like the Kosovo volcanic area. Huge volcanic area here in Beatty, Nevada. Volcanoes all over the place. What is happening here? This is 1.1 tremor, microquake. 1.1 tremor here. This is not a microquake. Microquakes are 0.1 to 0.9. This is a 1.1 tremor. Not a big deal. But magma beneath the surface here is causing this action here. Magma beneath the surface is fracturing rock in this volcanic area, causing these seismic events. Okay? We go over here for the south and west. Keeler, California, at the border of Nevada and California. That's a 1.5 tremor. Olancha, California. Now we're getting in here into the Mojave Desert. Mojave Desert. When we had the 7.1 earthquake back here in Ridgecrest, California, when that earthquake happened in 2019, what happened? That was a 7.1 earthquake, and now scientists are saying it was an 8.0. Scientists said that 7.1 earthquake was an 8.0. This whole area was rocking. This whole area had thousands of earthquakes. The seismic energy that was released with this Ridgecrest earthquake was felt up here in Olancha, California. Today in Olancha, we had a 1.77 tremor. This whole area in the Mojave Desert is still rocking. It's been rocking ever since the major, well, actually before the major earthquake hit. That caused a lot of damage. Here's the Kozo Junction. The Kozo Junction, guys. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the volcano here. Okay? Let's zoom in here. I want to show you this area. This is Kozo Volcanic Junction. Huge area. In this area, you're going to see craters, and you're going to see the uplifted volcanic cones here, all throughout this area. We had a 0.79 microquake here, Kozo Junction, 1 mile southwest of Kozo Junction. Now, over here, okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. Look what we have over here. This is Interstate 395. Interstate 395 used to run from San Diego County all the way up to Montana and Wyoming to Yellowstone National Park. This is old 395. Still, 2 lanes in each direction. This is a hotel and a gas station complex here at the side of the highway. This road runs into the Kozo volcanic area. This is a geothermal area, guys. Why am I talking about it? Let's zoom in here. Let's follow this road into Kozo volcano. Okay? Let's follow this in. Again, look what we're seeing here. We're seeing craters and cones here. It's a huge volcanic area here. Look at this. Craters and cones all over this area. But guess what's happened? Years and years ago, about 30 or 40 years ago, former Senator Harry Reid, he since died a few years back. He got Congress authorized funds for exploratory drilling here in the Kozo volcanic area. Why? They wanted to see if they could find steam here from the upper magma chambers of the volcano to harvest steam from the volcano to power turbines to generate electricity. This was the first attempt by Harry Reid of this kind. Harry Reid made tons and tons of money as a result of this. There's about 40 different turbines over this whole area. Let's look at this. Okay. There are drill points here. There are drill points throughout this area, pulling up steam out of the upper magma chambers of this volcano to power turbines. Now I'm trying to find right now one of the turbine facilities here. Let's look over here. Nope, that's not one of them. The turbine facilities are all over this area. We just got to find them here. You can see the cones and craters everywhere still. It's a huge volcanic area. It's not just one volcano, it's a bunch of volcanic area. Okay? Where the volcano erupted and there's cones and craters where the volcano spewed lava outside of these cones and craters in various time areas. Right here, this is a bunch of lava here. Okay? This whole area here. Let me still see if we can find one of the turbine facilities here. This is not one of them. This is another facility here. There's an electrical facility right here. That electrical facility may be where they have the electrical lines going to the drill points here. I've seen these turbine facilities all over here before, but now I can't find them. That's weird. Usually I've been able to just go in here and I find them all over the place. Usually you can see them near roads and stuff like that. But again, you can see the cones and craters all over the area. Well, we'll find these drill points and we'll see. I'll try to find the turbines and locate them and show them to you. But this is Kozo Junction, the Kozo volcanic area. Okay, that's there. This is Cyril's Valley. Okay, this is just north of Ridgecrest, Cyril's Valley. This is 0.81. This is a 1.46 tremor here. This is a 0.57 microquake here in Ridgecrest, 6 miles east-northeast of Ridgecrest. Where's Ridgecrest? Ridgecrest is a city down here. This is the town of Ridgecrest. It has its own airport out here. This is the town of Ridgecrest here. Okay, but like I said, there are earthquakes here. This is Johannesburg, California. I've shown you earthquakes here on the USGS map before. This is a 0.68 microquake here. Right over here, Johannesburg here, 14 miles east-northeast of Johannesburg. This is a 0.36 microquake. Okay, over here. This is California City, 18 miles northwest of California City. This is a 0.99 or a 1.0 tremor. When you see 0.99 anything, it's a 1.0 tremor. They're trying to make it seem like it's less than that. That's a tremor there. Okay, right here. Bodefish, California. This is also a volcanic area here. Bodefish, California is a volcanic area, just like Kozo Volcano, except Bodefish doesn't have a geothermal facility here. Further south here, this is the Grapevine. Remember, you all the time, if you lived in California or you've driven through Los Angeles going north, this is the Grapevine. Interstate 15 goes through the Grapevine area. This is a 1.55 tremor here. Okay, down here, this is the San Andreas Fault here. The San Andreas Fault. Down here, Parablossom, California, 0.69 microquake. Further down here, the fault, Little Creek, California, 0.81. Loma Linda, this is the east side of Los Angeles. Loma Linda, California, with a 1.15 tremor here. Here is also Loma Linda, 0.83. Redlands, California, a 0.65 microquake. Again, what are we talking about? Right here, we have the San Andreas Fault. That's one of the reasons that Loma Linda continues to get hammered here with earthquakes and tremors, is because of the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault here. Right here, also along the top of the fault, this is Yucaipa, California, 0.72 microquake. Okay, now they are having all kinds of earthquakes throughout this Los Angeles basin. All kinds of earthquakes are hitting here. It's sad but true, they're not talking about it. They're not talking about it. I could show you seismograms from Caltech showing you all kinds of earthquakes all over the Los Angeles basin. They're not talking about it. My wife was born right here. Right here. Rancho Palos Verdes is right here. All kinds of tremors and minor earthquakes are happening right here in Rancho Palos Verdes. Earlier last year, you heard of landslides and rock slides here because the land is shifting. Why? Because they pulled oil and gas from underneath the ground. They pulled oil and gas from underneath the ground, and the ground is subsiding. As a result, they've had landslides and mudslides in this area after they've had a lot of rain. Rancho Palos Verdes here. Up here, this is Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. We have had all kinds of tremors and microquakes all throughout this area here. The northern part of Los Angeles is right here along the coast. This is rich man's territory right here. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. They have tons of boats and yachts in this area. Tons of boats all throughout this area and yachts. Tons of them. Tons of them. Right here, for example. Look at this yacht harbor here. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. Playa del Rey is up here to the north. Marina del Rey is down here on the other side of this inlet here. Okay, that's what they do here. This is a rich man's area. Okay. Again, my wife was born here. Over here, we have Malibu, California. Remember the fires that hit here in Malibu, California last year? We had the Ventura fire, didn't we? We had the Malibu fire. We also had the Los Angeles Palos Verdes, or not Palos Verdes, what do they call it? Not the Paradise Valley, but the fire that just recently got controlled right here. Okay? The Eaton fire right here. The Eaton fire right here. Up here we had the Castaic Hughes fire. Just got under control this week. 2 weeks after the fire started, it finally got under control. But earthquakes are happening all over Los Angeles, and they don't want to talk about it. Heaven forbid they talk about it and share the information. They don't want anybody to know what's going on. At some point in time here in Los Angeles, there's going to be a major earthquake. It's going to happen any day now. I believe it's going to happen any day, and this area is going to rock and roll. We have not had a major earthquake here since about I think it was 1994. 1994 here in North Ridge, California. North Ridge, California, a major 6.9, 7.2 earthquake hit right here. Caused all kinds of damage. This was a major disaster area for weeks and months. Okay? Further down here to the south. Now we're getting into Orange County. Hemet, California, out here in the desert. Okay? All kinds of earthquakes and tremors hitting here. They're not talking about it. We go up here. Okay? This is the San Jacinto Fault here. This is the San Bernardino Mountains. Idlewild, California is a skier's destination right now. Skiers and hikers here through the snow in Idlewild, California. And there's a town here. Okay? All kinds of restaurants and shops and cabins to stay in. Idlewild ought to pay me because I've talked about it. This is a 1.0 tremor here in Idlewild. Also right here, this is a 0.47 microquake. Further south, Anza, California. This whole area is called the Anza Gap. The Anza Gap here. Okay? Over here to the south and west. This is Palomar Observatory. 4 miles west southwest of Palomar Observatory. This is a 7,100 foot mountain in northeast San Diego County. Let's zoom in here. Okay? The other day with USGS map, people were wondering where the Palomar Observatory was. I believe we're going to be seeing it very quickly down here. No, that's not it. Okay, that earthquake is west-southwest of the observatory. So let's go here just a bit to the north. Bingo. Guess what? Here's the observatory. That earthquake was northeast of the observatory. This is Palomar Mountain, 7,100 feet high, northeast San Diego County. Okay? This is also the San Jacinto Fault. The San Jacinto Fault comes up here from the north, comes right down here from the north and just just west of Palomar, through Palomar Observatory, Palomar Mountain right here. Okay, this is the main observatory here. Down here is the Viewers Museum here, and there's also other observatories here as well. Right there and over here. Okay, there's smaller telescopes here. The Palomar Telescope is a Hale Observatory. The Palomar Telescope is actually called the Hale Telescope. Yeah, Ruthie B. is Pacific Palisades. I'm sorry. Yes, I was meaning to say Pacific Palisades, and I said Paradise. Pacific Palisades, where that fire was. I just showed you where it was. Okay, let's continue over here. Okay, I didn't mean to get hung up here at Palomar Observatory, but I couldn't find it the other day on the USGS map. Over here is Escondido, California. Here, Escondido, California. I used to live there. Okay, right here. This is Lake Henshaw, just south of Escondido. I've been fishing here at Lake Henshaw before. Okay, now we're getting into Poway, California down here. Good old Poway, California here. Down here, this is Ocotillo Wells. Ocotillo Wells, actually 21 miles north. They're saying it's south of Ocotillo Wells. This is actually northwest of Ocotillo Wells. This is the top of the mountain. These are the Chocolate Mountains here. This is the Chocolate Mountains. This is actually 21 miles north of Ocotillo Wells. 1.04 tremor here. Over here, we are here in Imperial County here. This is the Salton Sea. Okay, this area here is Borrego Springs. The Anza-Borrego Desert here. This is the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. We have tremors and microquakes all throughout here, and occasionally we'll see a 2.5, 3.5, 4.5 moderate quake, and we've also had large 5.0 to 5.5 earthquakes right in this area here. It's happened all the time. It happens all the time. This is the Salton Sea here. Okay, we talk about the Salton Sea all the time in relationship to the Imperial County. This is North Shore of Salton Sea up here. They have minor tremors and microquakes here. Here is Bombay Beach. We continue to show you earthquakes here at Bombay Beach, but we have yet to see USGS or any of the other agencies, including the European agency that shows this map. We rarely see earthquakes here at Bombay Beach on the map. Rarely. That's because they don't want to show the earthquakes. Why? Because Bombay Beach here, right on the the San Andreas Fault here. This is the San Andreas Fault. Bombay Beach regularly has about anywhere from 10 to 15, 3.5 to 4.5 earthquakes right here. Every day. Every day. Right here. This is Calipatria, California there. What is there? Right here, Calipatria in the past has shown us anywhere from 75 to 155 earthquakes every day. Every day. Now they're showing us about 70 earthquakes. Why? Because they turned off the seismograph at about 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening. They don't turn it on again until about 8 or 9 o'clock a.m. That 12-hour period, they're not showing any earthquakes here at Calipatria, but they're showing plenty of earthquakes after that. That's because, again, they turn off the seismograph. Okay, here, folks, this area here has a seismograph as well. Okay, California here in the Imperial Valley. Westmoreland here has about 50 earthquakes a day. Again, why? It's right on the San Andreas Fault here. The San Andreas Fault comes from way up in Northern California, runs all the way down here through the Imperial County. It takes a southwesterly turn here at Calipatria here. Takes a southwesterly turn here at Calipatria and goes down here to Westmoreland. Right here. This area right here is the Salton Butte volcano. The Salton Butte volcano. This is going to erupt at some point in time. The Salton Butte volcano right here is going to erupt. There's a very good chance it could erupt within the next 5 years. Okay? So I told you about North Shore Salton Sea. I told you about Bombay Beach. I've told you about Calipatria. I've told you about Westmoreland. Right here is another seismograph. This is in the town of Imperial. One of our dear friends that's a friend of our program and a friend of mine, his name is Juanito. He and his family live here in El Centro. Over here in Imperial, they have earthquakes. About 25 to 50 earthquakes here every day here in the town of Imperial. South of there, right here, is El Centro. This is El Centro Naval Air Station. El Centro's been having 3.0 to 4.0 earthquakes every day. Several every day. And I'm talking 10 to 15 3.0 to 4.0 earthquakes every day. Here in El Centro. Let's zoom in here. This is Heber, California down here. Okay, this is El Centro here. I don't know why they've had this little dot here. This is El Centro here, and El Centro Naval Air Station is right there. Heber, California has been having earthquakes. This is a 1.3 tremor here. 1.3 tremor. Again, look at the San Andreas Fault. Comes down here, then it cuts through El Centro here, all the way down here, through El Centro, all the way down here into Mexico. And guess what? These are not the only earthquakes that are happening. I don't know why they have to talk about earthquake here in Heber, California. There's a lot of earthquakes here that they can talk about, but they don't want anybody to know what's going on. Right here. This is another town. This is Holtville, California. In Holtville, California, they have the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. Holtville, California has about 25 to 30 earthquakes a day. Every day. Okay? But they don't show them here. Who knows why they don't? But they don't. Let's go down here into Mexico. You see where the San Andreas Fault leaves California, comes across the border, and goes into northern Mexico here. Then it cuts out here to the southwest here. What is here? Let's show you what is here. This is a volcano. What is it? This is a Cerro Prieto volcano. The Cerro Prieto volcano. What do they do here? They do just like they're doing at the Salton Sea. What are they doing at the Salton Sea? There are actually stations here at the Cerro Prieto volcano where they're doing what they're doing at the Salton Sea, tapping into the upper magma chambers of the Cerro Prieto volcano to obtain steam to generate electricity for the people of Mexico. They're doing the exact same thing. This area here, right here, folks, this is where the pipes are coming from the Cerro Prieto volcano to tap in here over to the turbines to generate electricity for the people in Mexico. That's what they're doing here. Okay? This is the San Andreas Fault here, guys. The San Andreas Fault. By the way, for those of you that don't know, what is on the summit of the Cerro Prieto volcano? What is on the summit? They've carved a phoenix at the top of the volcano. This is the caldera of the volcano. When the volcano last erupted, the lava hardened here into a caldera floor. They carved a phoenix into the caldera floor of the Cerro Prado volcano. That's one reason you know it's a volcano. And this whole area, it's part of the electricity supplied from the upper magma chambers of the volcano. Okay? The San Andreas Fault runs from Northern California down through Southern California, all the way down here into Mexico. Down here, at the entrance to the Gulf of California, what do we have? A 3.9, 4.0 earthquake south of Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. This is way south of Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. You want to know where Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico is? Let's go back up here. Folks, this is Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico here. On the south side of the U.S.-Mexican border. This is Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. Why do I know that? Because back in 2011, April 3rd, 2011, what happened? There was a 7.1 earthquake here in Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. Over here, okay, on the north side of the border. Okay, this is Calexico, California. There was major damage here. Major damage here in Mexicali. Major damage all over the Imperial Valley. Major damage over here in San Diego County as well. Major damage in San Diego County here. Right here. San Diego City. I was here for an earthquake drill. We had to go real world for a week. We had to go real world for a week. Why? Because the earth was shaking as a result of that 7.1 earthquake just south of the border, south of the Imperial Valley. The ground shook here. I was here in downtown San Diego. We felt the earth shake. There were windows from high rises here in downtown San Diego that fell out of the high rises and crashed onto the ground here in downtown San Diego. All over here. April 3rd, 2011. The San Andreas Fault, guys, goes through the Imperial Valley, through Mexico, actually goes down through the Gulf of California, and you see earthquakes here. You see a lot of earthquakes here. Let's go back up here. Right here. This is a 3.5 earthquake. This is a 3.7 earthquake. This is a 4.2 moderate earthquake here. Okay? This is 41 miles north of San Felipe, Baja California. This is the headwaters of the Gulf of California. We go right down here. More earthquakes here on the San Andreas Fault. This is a 3.8. Over here on the Baja, this is a 3.3 here. We go down here and we see the San Andreas Fault continue through the Gulf of California. All the way through the Gulf of California here, guys. Look at this. All the way through. Down here, Cabo San Lucas. This is a 1.7 tremor here. We don't often see earthquakes down here, but here today there are. Cabo San Lucas, guys, look at this. That's a 1.7. This is a 1.6. (1.6), 1.7, 1.8, and 1.9. Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Okay? The San Andreas Fault continues into southern Mexico here. Right here. Manzanillo. Manzanillo is a very prevalent area. Okay? This is high tourist trap. This is a tourist trap. Manzanillo, Zihuatanejo. Okay? This area has earthquakes. Okay? A lot of earthquakes. Right here is Puerto Vallarta. We usually have earthquakes here as well. But look at the San Andreas Fault here. It follows the coast of Mexico down here. Earthquakes all over. You don't see these earthquakes on the USGS map. They're not going to show them to us. Look at these earthquakes. That's a 2.7 earthquake here. Here's a 3.2. There's a 3.3. There's a 3.4. Here's a 4.2. There are 3s and 4s all over this area. Literally all over southern Mexico. 4.2 there. This is a 3.2. This is a 4.1 moderate earthquake. That's a 3.3. This is a 2.9 in southeastern Mexico. Okay, let's come down here. This is a 3.9, 4.0, Oaxaca, Mexico. This is a 3.3. This is a 4.2. 4.2 right there. That's a 4.0. It continues. This is a 3.1. That's a 3.7. We're still in southern Mexico, Oaxaca, Mexico. That's a 3.7. That's a 3.7. This is a 2.9, 3.0. Over here just off the coast, 3.5. 4.0. 3.8. This is a 3.6 in Puapapan, Mexico. This is a 3.1. 3.4. This is a 4.1. You see all these earthquakes in southern Mexico? They're all over here. Does USGS show you these earthquakes? No. They don't show one earthquake. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 earthquakes right there, and 10 plus there. 10 plus earthquakes there. We come down here. El Salvador. Look at all these earthquakes in Central America. 3.7 there. 2.7 there. 3.2 Costa Rica. 3.0 Costa Rica. 3.6 Costa Rica. 3.2 Costa Rica. This is Panama-Costa Rica border with a 4.1. Central America has dozens of earthquakes every day, but USGS will never tell you that. USGS will never show you this, ever. They might show one earthquake and that's all. Why am I showing you this? Because it matters. It matters. All this energy is headed north. All this energy is headed north where? Back into the United States. Down here, we have a different plate here. This is the Cocos plate here in Central America. Up here, we have the San Andreas Fault. All this energy is coming up the San Andreas Fault headed north. We see it here in Cabo San Lucas. We see it up here in the headwaters of the Gulf of California here. All that energy is headed north. This is the Imperial Valley, guys. You see it's headed north. We're going to see a much larger earthquake again in Southern California. We're going to see it in Southern California. The energy from the north in Canada and Alaska is also headed south. It's also headed south down here. You see it here. Let's look at this. This is Hoggensburg, British Columbia, Canada, a 3.7 earthquake. They're not showing this here, are they? Not on the USGS map. And of course, it's Washington, 0.92. They're not showing any of these earthquakes on the USGS map, none of them. Last night, let's look at this. Okay, this is a 5.8 earthquake in Alaska. Nicotal, Alaska, a 5.8 very large earthquake hit here. And there's aftershocks. There's aftershocks here. There are 3, 2.7, 2.8, and 3.5 earthquakes right here associated with this 5.8 earthquake. And guess what? All these earthquakes here are aftershocks. All these earthquakes in this area are aftershocks of this very large earthquake that hit here in Alaska earlier. Okay? 11:40 p.m. last night. 11:40 p.m. last night. Over here, this is Dakota, Alaska, a 3.2. Like I said, all these earthquakes right here are aftershocks of this 5.8 earthquake that hit here last night. And you see about 60 earthquakes all over southern Alaska right here. There are no earthquakes up north. This is north. This is the Arctic Circle here. This is the Arctic Circle here. You don't see any earthquakes up here at all. They're not reporting them. I'm looking for earthquakes right here, in this area right here. Okay, why? Because, guys, we're pumping oil and gas here. This is the North Shore of Alaska. We're pumping oil and gas here. 2 days before the Ridgecrest earthquake hit, we had a 5.0 large earthquake right here. Katavik, Alaska. Katavik, Alaska. I'm looking for that to happen again. Yes, we've had some minor earthquakes and we've had some small earthquakes here at Katavik before. I'm wondering when we're going to have another 5.0 earthquake that could possibly trigger the Ridgecrest earthquake 2 days later. I'm looking for it. Does anybody have any questions about earthquakes or what happened last night in Washington, D.C.? Mary M is asking where I get this earthquake. It's on my earthquake app. On your cell phones or your devices, you can download my earthquake. The images that you saw here are from the European agency. They're not from the U.S. agency. Well, some of them might be from the U.S. agency, but the U.S. agency is not taking credit for any of these. They're only going to show up on the European agency map. You can download my earthquake on any of your devices. Okay, this is one of my devices here. Okay, this is one of my devices right there. Charlene says, no questions, interesting information. No, I appreciate that. I wanted to make sure you have this information. I feel it's important. It's very important because this is going to come back and bite the USGS in the butt. We're going to have a major earthquake and nobody's even expecting it because they're not talking about it. People are going to get hurt and people are going to get killed because the USGS is not doing its job. The USBS is not doing its job, plain and simple. They're not going to take it. They want no responsibility for it. Please, folks, before you leave tonight, give us a thumbs up if you appreciate any of the information we share with you tonight. We'd greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate it. I spent probably, I want to say, 15 hours between last night and this morning putting together the information I gave you today. I spent about 15 hours putting together that information. Unreal. Unreal. Demon Catman has shown our address here at 104 North Green Street, box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. If you want our email address, it's rltnspdema@gmail.com. Also, after we get back out here on the air, doggone it, Microsoft just shut down my computer to do an update. What a bunch of joke. I was going to show you some stuff. Sorry, I can't do that tonight. Anyway, as soon as I am allowed by Microsoft to get into my computer again, I'm going to put up our program description beneath this video today. There will be a program description. At the top of the program description, you can find more information about how to become a member of the EMA network here on YouTube. Also, right below that, you're going to find our email address, and right below that are our Venmo and our PayPal locations, where you can subscribe, or not subscribe, but you can go there and donate money to our program. Now, I believe we're going to have a new computer, okay? Because this one is not doing its job any longer. It's not plain doing its job. So we're going to have a new computer. I'd appreciate any help that you could give us getting a new computer. Dr. Jamin said it shut down, yes, to do an update, but this computer is not able to broadcast any longer for whatever reason. Now, I'm going to try to change that. Arnold Schmidt called me earlier and gave me the name of a man in Phoenix that might be able to help me, in which case I'm still going to have to pay him. Okay? But I appreciate any effort that you guys can make to help me get a new computer or get this one up and running. I'd really appreciate that a lot. Dr. Jamin's Place just said here on the chat here, let's just say that we're seeing some wasteful organizations getting shut down. You're right. You're absolutely right. President Trump is shutting them down. I believe what is going to happen within the next short while, we're going to see major changes at the USGS. USGS cannot continue to be doing what they've been doing, not showing the earthquakes, number one, and not telling people what's going on. There's going to be a lot of people hurt and a lot of people killed because the United States agency, the preeminent seismic agency for the world, is not being honest with anybody. Really not being honest with anybody. Okay? Just so you know, there's been another large earthquake in Indonesia during the day. Large 5.0 earthquake happened in Indonesia today. Okay? That large earthquake happened in Alaska last night. There's large earthquakes over in the Atlantic Ocean in the South Mid-Atlantic. The South Mid-Atlantic plate is moving. The Mid-Atlantic plate is splitting. It's expanding. The Atlantic plate is sending Africa and Europe in the easterly direction. The Mid-Atlantic plate at the same time is expanding to the west as well. The Mid-Atlantic plate is pushing Greenland and North America, Canada, and the United States and Mexico in a southwesterly direction. That's putting earthquakes here on the East Coast. It's also pushing the continent over on the West Coast as well, allowing the Pacific plate to subduct underneath the North American fault. That's happening as we speak. A lot of earthquakes happening along the West Coast as well. We're going to see it, more and more of it. But the USGS is not telling anybody about it. We have to look for seismographs all over the place and pull information from the seismographs. And we do that to show you what's going on, because the agency won't tell us. The agency will not be honest with us at all. They haven't been, and they won't be. Plain and simple. They're not going to. They're not going to. Now, does anybody have any questions for me? Heidi Patrick just gave us a $50 super chat. Heidi, thank you so much. Earlier this evening, Heidi Patrick gave us a $20 super chat. Now she's just given us another $50 super chat. I'm giving you an EMA sticker on your super chat and another thumbs up. Please, everyone, thank Heidi for her generosity. Yes, you can help a little bit more. Thank you so much, Heidi. God bless you, my friend. God bless you. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. It means a great deal to me. It means a great deal to everybody. Dr. James Play said he's never had a problem with Dell computers. I used to have a Dell computer and it worked fine for about 5 years, and then it quit as well. It just happens.
If special needs children are 2 to 3 times more likely to be bullied, what are we doing as special needs parents to prevent bullies? My son, Maddox,
I'm sorry, guys. Dadgum, YouTube. Got to put commercials on our videos. Got to play games with us. It's sad. It's just sad. But folks, I want to thank you for all that you do for me, all you do for Emergency Management Associates and for each other. I really, really appreciate that. It means the world to all of us. It really does. It means the world to me because I can help inform you what's going on, but it flows downhill from there. It flows to all of you. You guys help me, and I help you. Dr. James Place said a lot of businesses use HP. This is an HP computer here. This is an HP computer here. Yes, Dr. James Place, this is a Pavilion. This is actually a Pavilion gaming computer. It's unreal. Linda Covington says PayPal or? Yes, PayPal or Venmo. Send it to PayPal, please. I prefer it to go to PayPal. Okay? Guys, I love you. Now, if anything else happens tonight, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. I promise you that. As soon as the information becomes available, we'll tell you about it. Until then, we will see you tomorrow. Same time, same station. If we get information during the night or in the morning, we'll be back on the air tomorrow morning to tell you about it. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow night with Emergency Management Associates Friday, which is Friday Preparedness. We're going to talk about emergency preparedness tomorrow. God bless you all. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love.